Okay, so here's how it's gonna go. First, I'm gonna briefly present CrowdWiz and what it does, and then I'm gonna sit down with Michael, and we'll have a sort of a discussion on how to launch an ICO, the legal aspects, the marketing, etc. So my name is Slovena. I'm one of the co-founders of CrowdWiz. Our mission at CrowdWiz is to democratize investments by eliminating intermediaries and centralized control and to place the power in the hands of investors. We're building a unique ecosystem. It's built around the WIZ token, which leverages crowd wisdom to empower the community and to stimulate innovation, decentralization, and efficiency. So why the concept of crowd wisdom? It's a very powerful concept that has proven to result in efficient decision making under three main conditions: independence, diversity, and decentralization. A wealth of research shows that averaging the answers of many often outperforms any individual, even expert opinion, and consistently so. I'll give you some examples. You've probably all of you have seen the TV show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Jeopardy in the US. Guess which the most effective lifeline is? Asking the audience. So if you ask the audience, lifeline gives you the correct answer 91% of the time, versus phone a friend lifeline. And the friend is supposedly an expert, right? You have a curated list of friends beforehand. They will give you the correct answer 65% of the time only. If you if we take prediction markets as an example, prediction markets are possibly one of the most accurate forecasting tool there is, and they're built around the same concept. They average the answers of many to aggregate one very accurate forecast of an outcome. So how are we using this concept in practice? We're building a self governed investment ecosystem where all capital decisions are taken by the community collectively. Blockchain now enables us to apply a transparent voting process to the investment industry, which historically has been very centralized. We're removing layers and layers of management, and this way we're significantly reducing the costs, because there are no hefty fees. Basically, there's just execution costs, and we're promoting more streamlined and simplified operations. Now, what our ecosystem looks like, first we have I'm not sure if you can see all right, but we have the WizFund platform. It's essentially a technology where communities can easily create crowdsourced and crowd-managed crypto funds. We call this process of establishing a crowd-managed fund an IFO, initial fund offering. It's performed in a similar fashion to an ICO. So at the end of the day, the WIZ token will be to an IFO what Ethereum is nowadays to an ICO. Some other modules of the exchange of the ecosystem, excuse me, is the Wiz exchange, because every new fund created on the ecosystem will issue a new native token on top of the Wiz token. So all those native tokens will be traded on the internal exchange. WizVote and WizTrade are the mechanisms and the algorithms that allow the decentralized decision making and trade execution to happen. WizStore is our app store where third-party developers can. It's basically a set of open APIs where which third-party developers can use to contribute to the growth of the ecosystem. So this is just part of our team. The company that's building the platform is called Krypton Software. It's the crypto division of Tradeologic. We have a booth downstairs. We've been working together for many years. I have complete trust in the software architects, in the developers. They've already proved themselves as excellent professionals. The advisors are also people who are close to us, people who've helped us a lot throughout the years. Some of them are also our major investors. But what I consider one of our biggest strengths is how we managed to build a massive community in a matter of a little bit over a month, maybe after the announcement of the project. We These are actually old numbers. We have probably about over 55,000 signups on the website across all social media. We have more than 20,000 followers and members. And we're at what stage we are. We're in a pre-sale mode, in a pre-sale phase. We did a limited public pre-sale for a couple of days. So far, we've raised close to $6 million in the pre-sale. Our minimum target was 5 million, so we've already hit that. And our hard cap is 20 million. The ICO will start in about a week. The announcement of the official project was the official announcement was about 2 to 3 months ago. So yeah, afterwards I will be happy to share with you and Michael some feedback on how we managed to do that, the challenges that we faced, etc., etc. So Michael, if you want to join me.
So hello again. The purpose of this short session would be to get your feedback on the process itself of launching an ICO, on the different aspects of it. So let's start from regulations. So ICOs were considered up until recently the wild west of regulations. Now we see more and more involvement of regulators. We see the German regulator, the Singaporean regulator, the Israeli regulator, FCA, ESMA, all issuing warnings and different clarifications on ICOs and how to look at them. And I wanted to ask you, what, in your opinion, is the way to do it properly in terms of the regulations and the legal aspects?
Well, first of all, don't break any laws, of course. My advice is to find really good lawyers. We found a, a law firm in Estonia that did an amazing job for us. First, to find very, very good lawyers to basically hold your hand along the way, to look at all your materials, to revise everything, to help you structure the token sale properly, the token itself, what the token can and cannot do. And second, to find a crypto-friendly jurisdiction to do that, where the government is open. Before, the trend used to be Switzerland and Singapore. Things are changing now. Estonia is currently maybe the most crypto friendly government. Gibraltar is giving signs that they want the crypto business in their country. But yeah, I would say good lawyers can prevent you from unknowingly doing something that will be perceived as wrong by the regulators.
And in terms of where it is going, the regulations, if you would have to guess or assess what will be the future of regulations with regards to ICOs.
Well, the most discussed topic right now seems to be whether the tokens are security tokens or utility tokens. Naturally, everybody wants their token to be utility token because there's more liquidity for it. You can easily get listed on exchanges when it's a pure utility token. At the same time, a big part of the crypto community also believes that the future is in security tokens because they will be regulated. Then, if your token is properly registered as a security, you can pay out dividends, you can give voting rights to the token holders. But like on the downside, there's right now there's pretty much no exchanges that will list your tokens, but in a few months that will change. I'm hearing of a few exchanges that will launch that will be focused only on security tokens, in the US, in Europe as well. But yeah, you should be clear with yourself first what you want to achieve, whether it's going to be utility or security, and present it the right way. If it's a security token, don't try to pretend to have a utility token. That's the most dangerous thing you could possibly do.
As we saw in the MAS clarification now from today.
Yeah, MAS. Yeah, yesterday or today they made an announcement. Basically, they're basically saying that they will approach the ICO market the same way the SEC does, and if it's a security token, they want it properly registered with all the lengthy procedures and everything.
Okay, and speaking of tokens and exchanges, what, in your opinion, do we need to consider upon choosing an exchange? And another question following that, what are the entry barriers to exchanges in terms of regulations, in terms of their conditions?
You okay? So when choosing an exchange, basically, first thing you look for is the liquidity that the exchange provides, the volumes that they do per 24 hours. Getting listed on an exchange is not easy. I'm currently doing that. I'm negotiating with exchanges, and another thing I can tell you, it's also very expensive. You won't believe how much listing fees exchanges are asking nowadays, because there are so many ICOs. And you know, they're taking advantage and making a lot of money of it. But yeah, most of the proper exchanges have very strict KYC procedures. You have to pretty much show them everything. They require a lot of legal documentation. They require you to do KYC on all your contributors in order to be listed. There are exchanges with less strict KYC procedures where you can get more easily listed. But I I guess in the next few months we'll see more clear rules on that as well.
Yeah, probably regulations will influence that also.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah. A question about marketing. ICOs are relatively new. So, from the eyes of a non experienced trader slash investor, they can be somewhat seem as risky. And also, judging from ICOs that didn't do so well, they also might be, seem a little shady. So, my question is, how do you, by using marketing, um, um, how do you show your investors that you should be trusted, and you should be the ones that they're gonna trust and invest in?
Okay, so ICOs are a risky investment. No matter how good the product, the team is, it is a risky investment. The environment is changing every day. The market is changing. There are a lot of unpredicted challenges that you're gonna face along the way. Um, so it is a risky investment, and every investor contributor should be aware of that. And you, as a team, should be also very open about that. Don't make fake promises. Um, it is a risky investment. That's why we've seen such unprecedented returns, right? Um, but how do you build trust among your contributors? Basically, communication is the most important part of that. Both in marketing, the communication plan, the building of the community itself. You just need to be very open about everything. The community can be very forgiving if you're open with them. But if you try and hide stuff, they will dig and they will find out, and this is what they don't forgive. Once you lose their trust, it's very very hard to regain it. So yeah, I think two very important rules: don't break the laws, and don't lose your community's trust.
some
But
golden
yeah,
rules.
yeah, exactly. Just be very open about the team, about all the team members. Uh, Anyone can go and check their LinkedIn profile, the GitHub profiles of the programmers, their track record, what they did before, etc., etc.
So
It's
following that,
basically be very clear about your goals, how you're gonna achieve your goals, and don't overpromise.
sure. So following that question, there are so many ICOs out there. How do you stand out? I mean, being open is one thing, but you have to show that you're better than the others. And you see such an aggressive advertisement that we see on social media and you know on other platforms. How do you stand out when there are so many ICOs, so many options that the investors can get lost in?
Yeah, I would say we were maybe, let's say, the second wave of ICOs, where an already established company with a well-established team. Basically, we've been our company was established in 2009. Most of the team, we've been working together for years. We basically we're launching and building a new product, while the first wave of ICOs were two, three, four people with a white paper and an idea, etc. This I think this part helped us a lot, that people see that we have a solid team, and this is what makes them more confident that we can actually deliver the product, and that it's not just a white paper. We managed to release an alpha before the ICO, so that they see that we actually do have a product. It's not just an idea on a white paper again. Um, we have, of course, the white paper with the plan how we're going to develop it further, but we also have something to show for it, and what our vision is, how it's going to look like, that it's very user friendly, that they will actually enjoy using the platform.
And speaking of white papers, and that will be my final question before we give the chance to the audience. Uh, how important is the white paper? I mean, is it a little overrated? Because it's some people look at it as a legal document, some look at it as a commercial offering. What do you think?
It's very, very important. I think it's even more important for the team itself than even to, to potential contributors, partners, etc. Because one thing I wish we could have done better is that we had started with the white paper, while we started doing a lot of things in parallel, which actually delayed the progress. If we had started with the white paper, we would have answered a lot of questions and we would have spared the time of going back and changing stuff. Because once you write a good, proper 30, 40 pages long white paper with the visuals and everything, then you just follow it. Like, you have the message, you have the plan, you have everything, you just execute it. So yeah, it is very important to start with to start with the white paper. This should be absolutely the first thing to do when you plan to launch an ICO, and use it basically as guidelines for you every next step.
Sure. So I want to give a chance to the audience to ask questions. Do you have any questions for Slavina? Don't be so shy. Please, just a second.
Yeah,
It's
just shout
okay.
it out.
Give us some numbers. What are the costs to list a coin right now or a token on an exchange? Just give us some numbers.
It's basically they're negotiable, and they give different prices to different companies. I've spoken to other companies as well, but to be listed on a top 10 exchange for let's say 6-month listing, they might ask anywhere between 15 to 40 Bitcoin. To be more specific, that's for, let's say, 3 currency pairs to list your token against Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT, for instance.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Thank you so much, Slavina.
Thank you, guys.